Yes, team, welcome back to another episode today. This is a bit of a raw footage. Obviously, you can see the background and stuff here, but I want to be authentic and I don't want to be I'm trying to hide things and stuff like that. So this is a kind of like emergency episode, I suppose. I saw a Instagram post or story this morning, and it really related to the Instagram post that I uploaded last night to do with disconnection and how disconnection is so rife right now. It is a huge, huge topic in actually a world where we've probably been the most connected we've ever been, but also the most disconnected we've ever been. So why are so many men falling apart behind closed doors? Like, why is this actually happening? I'm going to dive into that today. I'm going to actually dive in as well around the psychology behind how people have their shit together on the outside, but internally they may be crumbling. I used to be similar. On the outside, I had the successful things. I had the nice car. I had the nice designer clothes. I went on loads of holidays and stuff, but internally, I was lost. There was a huge disconnect and a huge struggle. And the biggest problem today that men face in particular is disconnection from one's self. In a world where we're so connected, we also are so disconnected. So I'm going to dive into that today. So I think today's going to be a cool episode. So I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, the world is more connected than ever with social media, with phones, with the internet, with AI now being a part of all of this as well. But the disconnection is actually probably the worst that it's ever been. And Johann Hari has a quote, and he says that the opposite of addiction is connection. Just sit with that for a moment. The opposite of addiction is connection. So what does that mean? That means that disconnection equals addiction. In a world where the disconnection is actually getting worse and worse and worse, that probably suggests to me that the addiction is also going to get worse and worse and worse. So my work is actually probably the most important it's ever been right now, and I'm here to guide you and to help you through that. Tech is being chosen over touch. And what I mean by that is, can you remember a time when you kind of wanted to see a friend, but you couldn't really be bothered, so you just gave him a call and just caught up? 15-20 minute call, right? The choice of the use of tech is being chosen over touch, is being chosen over meeting them in person. You'll FaceTime a friend instead of meeting up with them and going for a coffee. You will text your friend instead of calling. You will maybe send your friend a picture instead of going to that place with that friend. And this is where the disconnection is now starting to become apparent. Everything is so simple over the phone. People think, why do I even need to leave the house or go out or do this or that? Because I can do it all at my fingertips. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is that there's a huge stigma behind men asking for help, and the lie of masculinity that we've been taught years and years and years of teaching or observing is that men don't feel, men don't talk, men just deal with it and suck it up and get on with it because that's the role of the man, and they need to be strong and they need to not show their emotions and they need to mask this and they can't express how they feel because they need to be a man. Like, can you remember a time where you maybe spoke up about how you felt and they were like, man up or suck it up or get on with it? And this is a big problem with men. So I, as a man, just want to let you know that speaking up is very, very important, and we'll dive into how you can do that towards the end of this episode, because the more you suppress a feeling or a thought, the louder the voice gets. So bottling up these problems just lead to numbing the pain through addictive vices like alcohol, like porn, like gambling, like drugs. All of these vices that us as men use to suppress these thoughts and these feelings, they are actually leading to the addiction. So this disconnection that you're feeling is probably fueling the addiction more than you think. I want you to think about a time when you felt disconnected. Maybe you were bored, maybe you were lonely, maybe you were pissed off, or maybe you didn't want to see anyone, you just wanted to sit indoors and take drugs or take alcohol. Like, that's disconnection. And I'm not just talking about disconnection with others. I'm talking about disconnection with yourself. Like, how connected are you feeling with yourself? Is there purpose? Is there drive? Is there ambition? Is there positive emotions? All of these factors that have a part to play in connection with oneself. They're the driving force behind this. So the addiction and connection loop is pretty simple. And it's, like I said just a minute ago, it's not the addiction itself that is the issue. It's the response to a deeper pain within yourself, a disconnection in oneself. So what would that look like if you were feeling disconnected? Like, how do you actually know if you're disconnected to yourself? Maybe you use substances to feel connection with yourself. Like, I've coached people in the past and they used to smoke like weed or whatever to express themselves or to kind of block out some certain noise in the background, and they wanted to focus on a task or something. And maybe you take drugs or alcohol to actually feel connection with your friends. Like, maybe the reason why you're taking substances is to feel a part of a group. I've coached many people and a lot of them have used drugs or alcohol at one stage in their life to fit in, to feel comfortable, to connect with their friends, to feel like they're good enough, to feel like they're not an outsider of the group. And that's disconnection, right? Maybe you use substances or addictive behaviors to gain confidence, to hit pause on life, to forget about things just for that time. But as you know, the longer you leave it, the longer you suppress these feelings, these thoughts, and these emotions, the louder the voice gets. Emotional disconnection from yourself shows up in other areas of. So if you're feeling disconnected with yourself, I want you to do a little audit. How connected are you feeling with others on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 is super connected and 0 is disconnected. And what I mean by that is, how are your relationships with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends? How connected are you feeling to your purpose, to your ambition, to your drive, to your life? How connected are you feeling to yourself? All of these kind of micro areas will have a huge impact on the general connection that you feel within yourself. And this will lead you to the answer, because you'll more than likely find when you start to tackle these areas, the addictive pattern will start to break because you're feeling more connected to yourself, to your being, to your innate being. There's a thinking principle called the inside out principle. And when you're feeling disconnected and you're in the midst of an addiction and you're going through this process, that is outside in thinking. Outside in thinking is where the external environment, the factors, have a part to play in your internal well-being, right? So needing to use substances to fit in with friends, needing to use substances to disconnect from your thoughts and your feelings, like that's outside in thinking. Inside out thinking is where you have innate well-being within you. You have all of the answers within you, and you don't need anything external to make that better or to numb that or whatever you're using the substances for, because internally you're good. You are good. So what's the hidden signs that you may feel disconnected? Like, what actually are they? I know I've kind of spoken about what is disconnection and kind of the impact it's having like right now, but what are the signs? And I've been reflecting and a couple of things come to mind. The first thing is always keeping yourself busy, but feeling empty. So what do I mean by that? Maybe you're in sales, right? And you're constantly striving, pushing, trying to get to the top of the leaderboard, trying to work harder, trying to work more hours. And as soon as you come home, everything just drops. Your thoughts start coming in. Your feelings start arising. Your general well-being just starts to dip because you're not distracting yourself from those thoughts anymore. So then you go home and you want to have a glass of wine, or you want to drink, or you want to do a line of coke, or you want to have a joint, or whatever this is. And then you're disconnecting again. And then you go to work and you'll disconnect, and then you'll come home and you'll disconnect. And it's just this constant disconnection cycle. And maybe it's working. I've got a client, he won't mind me sharing how he probably felt disconnected. He was growing a big business in Glasgow, and he is also a property investor, and he was attaching his self-worth and his value as a human to the numbers in the bank account. This is a feeling of disconnection. He was needing to work harder, to keep pushing, to keep going, to feel something. It was only until we dived in deep and worked on his self-worth and the disconnection and stuff that things actually started to become better, and he didn't actually need to work harder or keep pushing or keep growing in the business because he was good internally. The inside out principle, right? The second sign is maybe there's a constant need to escape, to party, to go on holidays, to actually avoid the thing that you're avoiding. Again, that's a huge sign of disconnection, constantly needing to escape yourself in one form or another to ultimately distract yourself from the thoughts and the feelings that may be arising. So again, that's also a sign. And the third sign is attaching your identity to your substance use. And what I mean by that is I've coached people in the past where they've kind of associated themselves to the drug. They've associated themselves to the person that brings the party to life, or they are the friend that people call to go and get on it with, or they are the person that kind of keeps the friendship together. Like, these are all signs of disconnection, like disconnecting within yourself, not knowing your true life's purpose, your path, your vision, and ultimately not knowing the direction of where you're going. I also see with people that they attach their identity to the business. So I work with entrepreneurs and business owners as well, and they experience disconnection within themselves when they attach their revenue or their goals, no, not their goals, sorry, where if they attach their revenue or their business success to their identity. So that only leads to one thing, and that's a yo-yo and a spiral. Because when you have a bad month, you're a bad person. When you have a good month, you're a good person. But what if you were so connected within yourself and you knew that you had this innate well-being within you that you didn't need to attach your self-worth to the business or to the success that you experience outside of your personal life? So here's how I reconnected with myself. I've run through what is disconnection, the signs. So now I want to show you living proof into how to reconnect within yourself. I realized enough was enough, and I spent many nights crying alone, feeling stuck, feeling lost, empty, and not knowing what life was to live for, really. I'd never thought about taking my own life, but I always questioned why, like what actually is life and what's going on here. So this epiphany kind of happened at Hideout Festival in Croatia. And this was like the massive turning point for me. I was taking pills and sniffing ket and drinking, doing coke most days, and something just hit me. I saw all these people from different countries and exploring, all right, albeit it was a festival, but they were still outside of their hometown, and I thought, I want to be doing this for life. I want to be traveling, but not with the drugs and the partying and everything else that's associated to it. So I decided to leave that life behind and reconnect with myself. I had a online fitness coach at the time, and I asked him if he knew anyone that could potentially help me with the mindset side of things. I knew that it was a mindset issue. I knew that it was a me issue, and there was no brute forcing my way through it. There was no gym broing my way through all these problems or bottling up these issues. Like, they had to be dealt with. And he pointed me in the direction of a mental performance coach who I actually have been working with for over 2 years now. And we connected straight away. He showed me things that I never saw within myself. He held the mirror up to my patterns, to my beliefs, to my identity, and ultimately he helped me see myself again. And it was like someone holding a mirror up to you and saying, why are you doing this? What's going on here? Where did that come from? And just toying with these ideas. And ultimately that led me to take the leap and to reconnect with myself, to find my purpose. There's a really good book on finding purpose called the Ikigai. And this is a Japanese concept around finding purpose and meaning in life. And it's very, very, very good read. And this is all about reconnecting with your inner self, reconnecting with what lights you up inside, reconnecting with yourself and your life's purpose and your life's mission. Now, connection is at the forefront of my mind with everything I do. So I work online, right? So it can be disconnecting at times. Even though I'm coaching clients all day, every day, and speaking to loads of people on the phone or on Zoom, it's still disconnecting. It's still looking at someone through a screen and not actually feeling that touch, right? If you remember at the start of this episode, I talk about tech over touch. This is tech, and I'm trying to bring more touch into my life. I'm trying to meet clients face to face and in person. I'm trying to put myself in in rooms where I maybe wouldn't before. Even if it is going to yoga, there's 28 people in a class. Like, I'm around 28 beating hearts. I try and go to a coffee shop where I can. If I find myself needing to do some work and I've got a spare couple of hours, I'll go to a coffee shop and do that work rather than sitting in my office. Because again, it's connecting with people, and you don't have to speak to these people every day, but just being around the energy of the people around you is also a big factor as well. So yeah, like, that is what I am doing at the moment to try and reconnect with myself. I'm also making a conscious effort to see friends in person as well. Like, instead of calling them up, like, we'll actually meet up instead. That's also really, really important. So here's some simple steps that you can do off the back of this episode that will help you reconnect with yourself, and then in turn will lead to connection with others. Talk to someone about what's going on. You don't even need to know what's going on. It doesn't need to make sense. But when you can have a confidant in someone being able to give you some solid advice, like, sometimes I'll message my therapist, I'll just voice note him for minutes upon minutes, and it's just getting out of myself into someone's hands that can actually give me some solid advice back. It doesn't have to be a therapist. It can be a friend. It can be a family member. It can be your partner, like, whoever that is for you, that doesn't matter. But that's important. Spending time alone in silence with no distractions. It doesn't have to be long. Maybe it's 10 minutes. You can do that through meditation. You can do that through going for a walk. But this is important. No phone, no TV, just sitting with yourself and sitting with your feelings, because we live in a world where there is so much distraction. We don't have time to be bored. We're at home, we're watching TV, we're at home, we're reading a book, we're at home, we're on our phones, social media, blah, 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 whatever it is. And it doesn't allow the opportunity for these feelings to arise. Again, it's a form of suppression of these feelings and these thoughts. So sit with yourself, spend some time alone. Don't be afraid to be alone for the evening. Say no to people and put yourself first. The third thing is making an internal commitment. With every opportunity you can get out, you will. So, for example, like I said earlier, for me, I'll be going to coffee shops where I can. I'll go to yoga 3 times a week. I will make an effort to see friends and family in person, face to face. I want to get in rooms with human beings, and I genuinely, that is at the forefront of my mind. I'm trying to get to networking opportunities. I'm trying to meet clients in person. I'm trying to get speaking opportunities. Like, I need this connection. I need to be around people, and especially when you work solo as well. So instead of connecting with your friends online, make an effort to see them, meet them for a walk, meet them for a coffee. And you'll begin to notice as time goes on, the feeling of disconnection should become slower, quieter, gentler, and the feeling of connection should increase and should arise. So I just wanted to jump on because I know disconnection is a big, important topic right now. If you are feeling disconnected, just know that this too shall pass if you do the work, if you bring this to your awareness, because listening to this is great, but now it requires implementation. So I encourage you to lean into it, and I encourage you to do that. So if you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling stuck, please raise your hand, drop me a message on Instagram, @the Jake O'Connor _, drop me an email, jake@thejakeoconnor.co.uk. Reach out to me, connect, and drop me a comment. If you just need someone to talk to, happy to chat. But just know that you're not alone, and just know that you don't need to bottle all of this up anymore. You don't need to. So I'm going to leave this episode here. If you liked this episode, please give me some love, like it, subscribe, comment, drop me a follow, whatever you got to do to support this. If you feel like it could be beneficial for someone else, please pass it on, move it forward to someone that could potentially benefit. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.